Genesis 24, a bride for Isaac. Now Abraham was old, well advanced in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. Abraham said to his servant Eleazar of Damascus, the oldest of his household, who had charge over all that Abraham owned, "Please put your hand under my thigh, as is customary for affirming a solemn oath, and I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I live, but you will instead go to my former country and to my relatives, and take a wife for my son Isaac, the heir of the covenant promise." The servant said to him, "Suppose the woman will not be willing to follow me back to this country. Should I take your son back to the country from which you came?" Abraham said to him, "See to it that you do not take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house, from the land of my family and my birth, who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, 'To your descendants I will give this land,' he will send his angel before you to guide you, and you will take a wife from there for my son and bring her here. If the woman is not willing to follow you to this land, then you will be free from this my oath and blameless. Only you must never take my son back there." So the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and set out, taking some of his master's good things with him. So he got up and journeyed to Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, to the city of Nahor, the home of Abraham's brother. He made the camels kneel down outside the city by the well of water at the time of the evening when women go out to draw water. And he said, "O Lord, God of my master Abraham, please grant me success today and show loving kindness to my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here at the spring of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Now let it be that the girl to whom I say, 'Please let down your jar so that I may have a drink,' and she replies, 'Drink, and I will also give your camels water to drink,' may she be the one whom you have selected as a wife for your servant Isaac. And by this I will know that you have shown loving kindness to my master." Rebekah is chosen. Before Eleazar had finished speaking, Rebekah came out with her water jar on her shoulder. Rebekah was the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, who was the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor. The girl was very beautiful, a virgin and unmarried, and she went down to the spring and filled her jar and came up. Then the servant ran to meet her and said, "Please, let me drink a little water from your jar." And she said, "Drink, my lord." And she quickly lowered her jar to her hand and gave him a drink. When she had given Eleazar a drink, she said, "I will also draw water for your camels until they have finished drinking." So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough and ran again to the well and drew water for all his camels. Meanwhile, the man stood gazing at Rebekah in reverent silence, waiting to know if the Lord had made his trip successful or not. When the camels had finished drinking, Eleazar took a gold ring weighing a half shekel and 2 bracelets for her hands weighing 10 shekels in gold, and said, "Whose daughter are you? Please tell me, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge?" And she said to him, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, Milcah's son, whom she bore to her husband Nahor." Again she said to him, "We have plenty of both straw and feed, and also room to lodge." The man bowed his head and worshipped the Lord. He said, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not denied his loving kindness and his truth to my master. As for me, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brothers." Then the girl ran and told her mother's household what had happened. Now Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban, and Laban ran out to the man at the well. When he saw the ring and the bracelets on his sister's arms, and when he heard Rebekah his sister saying, "The man said this to me," he went to Eleazar and found him standing by the camels at the spring. And Laban said, "Come in, blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand outside, since I have made the house ready and have prepared a place for the camels?" So the man came into the house, and Laban unloaded his camels and gave them straw and feed. And he gave water to Eleazar to wash his feet and the feet of the men who were with him. But when food was set before him, he said, "I will not eat until I have stated my business." And Laban said, "Speak on." So he said, "I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become great. He has given him flocks and herds, and silver and gold, and servants and maids, and camels and donkeys. Now Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was in her old age, and he has given everything that he has to him. My master made me swear an oath, saying, 'You must not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites in whose land I live, but you shall instead go to my father's house and to my family and take a wife for my son Isaac.' Then I said to my master, 'But suppose the woman will not follow me back to this land?' He said to me, 'The Lord, before whom I walk habitually and obediently, will send his angel with you to make your journey successful, and you will take a wife for my son from my relatives and from my father's house. Then you will be free of my oath when you come to my relatives, and if they do not give her to you, you will also be free of my oath.' I came today to the spring and said, 'O Lord, God of my master Abraham, if now you will make my journey on which I go successful, please look, I am standing by the spring of water. Now let it be that when the maiden whom you have chosen for Isaac comes out to draw water, and to whom I say, "Please give me a little water to drink from your jar," and if she says to me, "You drink, and I will also draw water for your camels," let that woman be the one whom the Lord has selected and chosen as a wife for my master's son." Before I had finished praying in my heart, behold, Rebekah came out with her water jar on her shoulder, and she went down to the spring and drew water. And I said to her, "Please, let me have a drink." And she quickly let down her jar from her shoulder and said, "Drink, and I will also water your camels." So I drank, and she also watered the camels. Then I asked her, "Whose daughter are you?" She said, "The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him." And I put the ring in her nose and the bracelets on her arms. And I bowed down my head and worshipped the Lord, and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me in the right way to take the daughter of my master's brother to his son as a wife. So now, if you are going to show kindness and truth to my master, being faithful to him, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right or to the left and go on my way." Then Laban and Bethuel answered, "The matter has come from the Lord, so we dare not speak bad or good to you about it. We cannot interfere. Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has spoken." When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed himself to the ground in worship before the Lord. Then the servant brought out jewelry of silver, jewelry of gold, and articles of clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious things to her brother and her mother. Then he and the men who were with him ate and drank and spent the night there. In the morning when they got up, he said, "Now send me back to my master." But Rebekah's brother and mother said, "Let the girl stay with us a few days, at least 10, then she may go." But Eleazar said to them, "Do not delay me, since the Lord has prospered my way. Send me away so that I may go back to my master." And they said, "We will call the girl and ask her what she prefers." So they called Rebekah and said, "Will you go with this man?" And she answered, "I will go." So they sent off their sister Rebekah and her nurse Deborah as her attendant, and Abraham's servant Eleazar and his men. They blessed Rebekah and said to her, "May you, our sister, become the mother of thousands of 10,000s, and may your descendants possess the city gate of those who hate them." Then Rebekah and her attendants stood, and they mounted camels and followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah and went on his way. Isaac marries Rebekah. Now Isaac had returned from going to Beer Lahai Roi, for he was living in the Negev. Isaac went out to bow down in prayer in the field in the early evening. He raised his eyes and looked, and camels were coming. Rebekah also raised her eyes and looked, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from her camel. She said to the servant, "Who is that man there walking across the field to meet us?" And the servant said, "He is my master Isaac." So she took a veil and covered herself as was customary. The servant told Isaac everything that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah in marriage, and she became his wife, and he loved her. Therefore Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.